I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. Today we have Hamad and Kanak running for MUISS country representative officers. And before we begin, let's take a quick look at the itinerary first. So, first, we're going to start off with an introduction, which is what's going on right now, which will be followed by an opening statement from both our candidates. And then we'll have a Q&A session from the office bearer, which will be followed by a Q&A session from the students. So, throughout, students or whoever's watching can comment in the comment section regarding any questions that they have, which will be answered later on. And then we'll end with a closing statement. So, uh, candidates, you have the floor now.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm Kanak.
And I'm Hamad, and we're running together for the post of CROs. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today, and we hope to fill the shoes of the CROs as good as our current OPs have.
So, we would first like to start our speech by conveying our reason to join Monash University International Student Services. To be perfectly candid, the reason why we both joined MUISS happens to be for the same. We're both products of starting our on university online in a pandemic. And MUISS was the first platform where we interacted with other people who had the same thought process as us. They were also international students going through the same situation. Hence, there was a sense of belonging. My term as a CRO subcommittee definitely changed my perspective on online university. I had the privilege to work with a group of different individuals from different cultures, and they had different work ethics, but we complemented each other at the same time. We got to organize various events, and I got to directly work with the country representatives and various international students from different countries. This made me realize how important the position of a country representative officer is, and how important it is for a competent individual to run for this position.
As for me, I worked as an activity subcommittee, which gave me the pleasure to introduce the new students to life online. We organized events such as mingle nights and orientation game nights, which are integral for the social life for every international student, especially considering that they're all actually having to start university life online. We both understand the responsibility that this position holds, and we hope to do the position the justice it deserves.
We want to be able to provide new and existing students under our term with the same sense of belonging and comfort that we received during our wonderful experiences as Subcom and MUIS.
We're both extroverted and outgoing people who would love to have the transition of new and existing students to life back on campus through the exciting events that we've got planned for the next year. In a way, we actually complement each other so well, which is why we wanted to run for this position together. This post gives us the perfect opportunity to directly interact with the international community. This dynamic will help us bring a new perspective to the Sierra division while still maintaining a professional atmosphere. Working together thus far has been such a wonderful experience, and we hope to continue with the same energy and effort during our term.
We want to ensure the best experience for every international student, which is why we also teamed up with the best group of individuals who have similar interests and the same enthusiasm as us to make international students feel comfortable and maximize their experience at Monash.
As CROs, we recognize that our shared responsibility in fostering a more equal and inclusive society. We believe that diversified workforce will bring forth creativity, innovation, and a more enriching experience to the university. All students have the right to equal opportunity and treatment, regardless of ethnic and national origin, gender, age, social class, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, or special needs.
Secondly, transparency is an integral part of our work ethic, so we plan to prioritize transparent communication by encouraging feedback through employing an accountability system within the team of the CROs. We hope to be accessible to our peers whenever needed and provide them with access to any information they need. We will ensure this by building genuine connections, by being honest and respecting everyone we work with. Basically, our ideology is treat people the way you want to be treated.
Thirdly, we want to bridge the gap between domestic and global diversity by increasing intercultural awareness and skills while enhancing understanding and connection through diversity for local and international students alike. This will help the students to explore personal cultural background and understand how it affects your interaction with others, while also demonstrating an understanding of different cultures and how to navigate our differences, which will be a big step in the right direction to solve cross cultural conflicts in our Monash community. We will implement this by building effective relationships through working in a multicultural group setting.
And on this note, we'd like to conclude by saying it is a huge honor to be able to contribute to the student community in Monash and being a part of MUISS and MUSA as a whole. So now we would love to hear some of your questions and the questions from OBs because we don't shy away from a challenge and we love to accept it. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful opening statement, candidates. So now we'll move on to the next session, which is the Q&A session from the office bearer. Along with this, I'll also like to remind the audience that if you have any questions, please comment and we'll answer them later on. So you have the floor, Bunga.
Hi guys, so my first question is, how is your CRO role differentiate to other role in MUIS?
All right. So I'll start it off. I think being a country representative officer is kind of like being the link, the actual link between international students and the administration. We are doing the field work. We're talking to every international student. We are being their voice. We want them to be heard. So we are going to be there for them so that any problems they have, we'll be there first. And that's how we
Yeah, and
differ.
plus what and this position that we have, it gives us a direct link to the international community, with the CRs, with the communities. It gives us exactly what we need. It gives us a platform to interact directly with the entire community, the international community in Monash.
Okay, next one for me. And how sure you're not going to be biased toward your own country?
All right, so when it comes to this, for me, I've grown in a country which is entirely diverse. I've grown up in the Middle East and I've grown up in UAE all my life. So the question about being biased towards our own country doesn't really arise, because the way we've grown up, we've been around so many cultures at the same time. We've grown up in a diverse place. So this actually eliminates any chance of bias towards our own country. And what it does is actually magnifies our want to be unbiased because we've seen all the cultures. We've seen how beautiful it is. That's my side, Kanak.
Yeah, I always like use this as a fun fact. I've never stayed in a country more than like 4 years. So I've been constantly moving around the world and I've got to see every culture and every culture is beautiful. So we as CROs would love to portray all the cultures that we've seen and all the cultures that we've not seen. So definitely bias does not come into question at all.
Okay, my next question is, during the working period, your partner is not working up to your expectation as the campaign period. And how do you handle the situation?
All right. So me and Hamad we've been working together for quite a while now. We started working when we were a subcommittee, like since we started becoming a subcommittee in MUIS, and I've seen how he works, and he's seen how I work, and we mentioned this in our speech. We really do complement each other's work ethic, and we know that when we like decided to do this, we said that we were gonna give our 100% or we were not gonna do this. So I am pretty sure he's not gonna disappoint me, and I won't disappoint him either, and everyone in MUIS and otherwise.
Hamad?
Yeah, I mean, what he said is totally right because the way we work is actually, it makes so much sense because we complement each other so well. And yeah, because since the start, we've known how we've worked because we've worked in seminars, we worked throughout MOAs with whatever had come up. So all this, we've seen how we work, right? So we know how it goes and we're actually comfortable with it. And if anything does come up, which probably won't, we'll actually talk it out and it won't be much of an issue because of how we are.
Okay, my next question from me. Seeing from your manifesto, one of your new initiative is about country spotlight, and how will it be different from One World?
One World is basically it's like a carnival, right? It's where each country have their own booths. They come out and they show their cultures, their traditions. But Country Spotlight, what it does is it spotlights one country for a specific period of time. Like say for example, Chinese tea culture, right? Because that's something really beautiful. And if when they come up and they go ahead with this, they can show entirely how it goes. They can show their culture. They can go ahead and they can. It goes around like, how do I put this? Each country, they have their own spotlight, so they can show exactly what they want to show it, and it's not much related to One World, because One World comes in with mostly food and like cultures, but this is like something else entirely.
Right. And I'd add on to that. I think one of our main reasons for doing this country spotlight thing was because we also want to kind of highlight the underrepresented countries, because some countries don't have a country representative, or they're small to have a country representative. So here, this is what we want to do. We want to spotlight them on campus or off campus, and show every student in Monash the culture, because I think every student deserves to see every culture in Monash. And also, to add on to that, not only the country representative officers will be using the booth, any department in MUISS can use the booth, and any international student can use the booth.
And if it's on campus, how are you going to handle the three big events? We already have MCN, and we have One World, and you want to add also a spotlight, a country spotlight.
So MCN and One World, right? They usually generally they happen in different semesters, semester one, semester two. So it's actually like split up. We've got specific time for MCN, we've got specific time for One World. But when it comes to the booth, it's something that's going to be there hopefully throughout the year. So we're going to have it on campus, or if it's online on Instagram, we're going to have it throughout the year. So it's an ongoing process that's going to be able to be used by anyone who wants to, by the MUISS community, by the international community. But when it comes to MCN One World, the one-time events that'll happen in separate times, so it shouldn't clash.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. Kanak, you still wanna answer? Okay, my next question from me. As you said that some country might not have a representative, and you guys still would like to represent their country. As you're not someone from their country, how are you going to represent their culture?
Okay, so what we want to do is, either the student or us we'll approach them, or they'll approach us, and we'll put them on, we'll give them the spotlight, and they get to represent their own culture. I don't think it would be fair for us to represent the culture for them. They will do it themselves. We just want them to show it to everyone.
Yeah, and there's no need, like in case a country that does not have a CR wants to go ahead and do it. It's not that they have to come through us through CRs. They can come to us directly, and we'll get it done, whatever they have.
Okay, my next question from me. In case if next semester is online, and as some platform are banned in several countries, how are you going to reach out the minorities?
Okay, so the way we want to go about this is, we will approach student life, we will talk to them, we will get the necessary information needed, and then we will approach them. Anything to add on? You can, Ahmad.
No, that's all, because considering that this is a very specific issue, there's not much we can do directly. So we're gonna have to take help from our heads and from the student life, and then see what's to be done about it.
Okay. As CRO is a certain position, however, sometimes your partner might be missing in action. And currently, there's an urgent matter. And how do each of you handle this situation?
Okay, so I think we both trust. Oh yeah, I think we both trust each other enough to know that if one of us is missing at that particular point, to take the right decision. Because no matter what, I will back Hamad up with his decision, because I know that he's taken it for the benefit of MUISS, for the benefit of our international students. And whatever it is, we'll just talk it out later. But if it's needed at that moment, I trust him enough to make the decision, and I'm sure he does too.
Yeah, it goes both ways. Like, because we've seen each other work so much, we know how it goes. So I trust her entirely, and she trusts me. So it actually goes really well. If she does take a decision like that, I'm sure it's going to be the best option that we had.
And we will also talk to our other team members, our other OBs, like the heads, any department, and we'll confer with them and infer with them, and yeah, and discuss.
Okay. Is there anything that you'd like to improve from this year's CRO if you're elected as the next year's CRO?
Yeah, so what we've seen an issue to be from last year is the representation of the Southeast Asian countries, right? So what our plan is, we want to sit down with Student Life, we want to get all the details from them and see, how big the communities are, and if we can appoint individual CRs for them. And because, it's something that can't be done like, very quickly and, in just one term. So we're hoping at least to make a start. So our fault for the CROs that come after us, they can work on it and they can make it better for the students in Monash.
And this also includes the Middle East as well, because I feel like Middle East also has quite a lot of regions in there, and they're right now only one. So if we can, we would like to kind of break it down and give each region its own voice.
Okay, just wanna let you guys know that information from students' information, the student life will not give you guys any information about the student as it is very confidential. Is there any way to reach out to student other than going through the student life?
Right. So the other way we decide to do this, yeah, the other way we decide to do this is by increasing reach on our social media platforms. So we want to be able to increase our reach so much so that every not every is a bit of unrealistic thing, but most of the international students see that this is a platform and that their region or their country wants to be represented, and they come forward and are passionate about being a representative, and that's how we will initiate it.
And how are you going to handle the CR if they get demotivated along in the middle of their working period?
So when it comes to this, our main plan before we appoint any CRs is to make sure that they're competent, that they're ready, they're ready to take on the responsibility of being a CR, because it's not a small thing, right? Because you're representing such a huge community, you're representing a whole part of MUISS, right? And a whole part of Monash, I mean, sorry. So what we plan to do in case that people lose faith, lose interest, is we've had a plan. We've yet to put it in motion, because the plan is to have monthly bonding sessions, right, with the entire team. So what this does is it instills a whole a team sense within all the CRs and the subcommittee, and it also keeps the interest going. They don't feel demotivated. This like that doesn't happen. So that's the plan.
Yeah, and to add on to that, we'll do our best in encouraging them and acknowledging their how to say their what's I'm blanking, but their all their motivation, like all the work that they're doing, we're gonna be acknowledging that and making sure that nothing they do goes unseen.
Okay, go back to your manifesto. Is there any particular reason that you're not touching about racism?
Yeah, so if
So
you, I'm sure. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, so if you've read our entire manifesto clearly, which I'm sure you have, two of our main objectives are inclusivity and bridging the gap, right? So what this happens is, when we're able to accomplish this, to the extent that we're hoping to accomplish it, it'll create an atmosphere in Monash where a question of racism will not arise. So what we plan to do is we're hoping to, if we can manage to bring everyone together and make them understand the differences and help them see that, these differences are what make life more beautiful. Because we're studying in university, we are interacting with so many cultures, so many communities. So when this happens, when people actually see how beautiful the cultures abroad are, there won't be a question of racism, because I mean that won't arise.
And to add on to that, we will also instill a no racism tolerance policy from the beginning, as you guys did as well, and we will make sure that we carry on with it.
Okay, one last question from me, and it's for both of you. Does having a personal interest mean there's a conflict of interest?
Sorry,
Uh,
I didn't get
so
the question.
Okay, I'll repeat again. Does having a personal interest means there is a conflict interest?
Absolutely not. I think we both welcome every idea, every opinion there will be in the way we work and the way we are uh, working with everyone else as well. We always say this: we want everyone's opinion to be heard. We want everyone's ideas to be heard as well. So even criticism, we don't say it's criticism. We say it's constructive feedback. So it's never a conflicting opinion.
Would you like to add on to that, Hamad?
Okay, basically what you said, right? Because the personal, I mean, the choice that we make, it's going to be for the betterment of the entire community. It's not going to be about me or her. It's going to be for the best of the entire community in Monash, MUISS and Monash. That's all.
All right. So thank you for your questions, Bunga, and thank you for the answers, candidates. So now we'll move on to the next session, which is the Q&A session from the students. So our first question here is from Amina. CRO is a shared position. If by any chance your partner decides to quit, how would you look? How would you work and respond to it?
It's so yeah, it's true that it's a shared position, and that does sometimes complicate things. But then the thing is, like we said before, the rapport we have is something that's it's very different, because we're gonna make sure that anything that happens, we're gonna back each other up, because if there is a reason to quit, something does happen, we're gonna back each other up. Make sure that we're gonna sort everything out, and make sure that we're gonna try our best not to have an issue like this come up.
And to add on to that, even if there is the worst case scenario where one of us does have to resign, I'm pretty sure that either of us will make sure that the position will be filled by a competent person and the person that is passionate about this position as well.
All right, thank you for that. And the next question is also by Amina. Can you elaborate on how would you make sure that there's no bias towards any country?
So yeah, like we said, because of how we've grown up, and because how we've seen, how the cultures around are, there's no question about being biased towards any country or against any country, because we've seen the cultures, we know how beautiful they are, and we hope to, have an entirely inclusive society in Monash.
And to add on to that, that's why Country Spotlight, our initiative exists, is so that we give every country an equal opportunity to come on over to our platform and share their culture with us.
All right, and the next question is also by Amina. So, being CROs are a huge responsibility, as you are aware. How do you plan on managing your own classes, personal life, CR events, MCN, and others?
All right. So I think personally, the both of us are very good with time management. We've been working even right now. Like everyone here knows how hectic the election period can get. But we both knew that this was gonna get hectic, so we did have a timetable set. We had our schedules like merged together. We knew when we were free, when we were not, and we worked accordingly. So we really do complement each other in that way because our schedules like perfectly aligned even during all of this.
Yeah,
Would you like to add
it's
on to that?
definitely, yeah, sorry. It's definitely his responsibility, yes. And when it comes to managing classes, like you said, we've got a timetable set straight. We've got a timing set because if this time is safe for studying, then we're both going to be studying at that time. And when it comes to our job, when it comes to the work that we've got, we're going to spend the time together. We're going to get the work done, and it's not going to be like we're wasting time. We're going to get everything done very quickly, very accurately, very precisely.
Efficiently.
Okay, we have one more question, and that's from Mohit. So, what are some of the qualities you will be looking in your subcom members during next year's recruitment based on your job scope? And please explain why. Thanks in advance.
So, firstly, what we want to be looking for is passion. We want our subcoms to be equally as passionate about being the voice for international students as we are. We want, because if there is no passion, then there is no initiative, there is no motivation. So, that's definitely one of the qualities we'll be looking. And secondly, Hamad can add on to that.
Yeah, when it comes to this, right, it's something you're looking to find is how they work with different cultures. Because if we want to have an inclusive community in Monash, what we're going to have to find is you're going to have to find the perfect team who's going to be able to do this, and work well with us, with the entire MUISS community, and mainly and most importantly is with the international students. Because if that bond is not there, the understanding of different cultures is not there, that's not going to really work. Because it's against if that doesn't happen, it's going to go against what you're trying to do here. And because considering it's mainly about understanding different cultures and showing different cultures, if they don't have an understanding of the cultures, it's not really going to go the way we want it to.
All right, thank you. And we still have one more question from Tanisha. So, how are you going to decide which events should be celebrated in Monash since there are so many ethnicities and festivals?
All right. So first of all, I think it's such a lovely thing that there are so many festivals to be portrayed in Monash. But the way we want to go about it is usually there are very rare festivals that overlap each other. Most of them don't. So we will accommodate every festival the way it is, and for the ones that do overlap each other, we will make sure that there is equal showcasing of each festival.
Yeah, so the thing is, it's really beautiful how many festivals and activities there are. So when this dusk, we're actually gonna it's gonna make us more excited to show all of them, so everyone can see how it goes and see how beautiful it is.
Okay, thank you. And we have one more question. So it's from Amina. How would you make sure that the CRs don't feel pressurized while getting the work you guys want from them done on time? And if by any chance they don't do it on time, what would you guys do?
So when it comes to the CRs feeling pressurized, that's what the entire team is for, right? Because there's us, the CROs, and then under us we've got the subcoms, and then it's the CR. So what happens is the responsibility is always split between each of us, and this will actually reduce the pressure. And what does it actually make? It'll bond us. Because when you work together with someone so much, you actually have an understanding of how it goes, and that actually makes the entire team better.
And and to add on to that, we did mention that the reason why we want to have these monthly bonding sessions with the entire subcommittee and the CRs is so that there is like no border between us. There's that no hesitation to say that, okay, I'm tired, I just want to take a break, because sometimes people do that and then they don't communicate. So we want communication to be effective. We want them to tell us if we're not doing something the way it should be done, and we want to be able to tell them if they're doing something that could be done better.
All right. So Let's move on to the next question, which is by Evelyn. Can you kindly explain how you'll ensure the representation of each country? Thank you.
Okay, so country spotlight. How this goes is we're going to be asking an international student or a country representative to come on over. If it's offline, then on our booth. If it's online, then on our social media platforms, and kind of showcase the culture. They could do anything. It's up to them. The creative freedom goes on to them. They could do whatever they want. We would definitely give equal chance to every country, and but our priority there would be the underrepresented countries. There are various countries, as I mentioned before, that don't have a CR, right? So we want to be able for the students to come on over and show us what's happening in their country, how their culture is, what they do in their country, and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically the country booths and the country spotlight, they're the perfect ways to to ensure the representation, because who doesn't want their country to be represented, right? They want others to see their culture. So what this does, it gives the students a platform, to come up and to actually show the culture and the beauty of the country.
All right, thank you for the answers, candidates. So, I'll just like to remind that if you have any questions, you can still drop them in the comments. And if you don't have any questions right now, you can go to Musa's Instagram official page and comment under KYC candidate KYC series. So, in the meantime, Bunga, if you have any more question, you can ask.
Okay, is there any new initiative that you would like to implement next year other than like Zoom event if it's online?
All right. So this one is in collaboration with our other departments. I think one of it is like a starter's guide for any international student that is coming on over to Monash and is the first time they're coming here. So we want to show them, oh, the food in Monash, like food near Monash, the accommodation near Monash, the where to find friends, where to do this, where to do that. So we want to be able to introduce them to the experience that students had in Monash before it started becoming online. So that's our one initiative other than Country Spotlight and Country Booth.
Yeah, so we'll work hand in hand with the media team, with the heads, and we'll try and come up with with these things that'll make students understand how life on campus actually is and how it used to be, and what to look forward to when they're actually back on campus.
Another question from me: if you have any conflict with other department, and how are you going to resolve it?
So yeah, when conflicts arise, it's because there are differences of opinion, right? So what we've always had within within the MUISS right now, and with my community, with my committee, the activities committee, is if someone does have an issue with something, we come up and we go ahead and we say it. We don't think okay, what's he gonna think, what's she gonna think. No, we just say it. And what this does, it makes it more transparent. Everyone sees where we're coming from, what we're trying to say. And what this does is it makes it understandable for each person, for both sides of the party. And we do have, we have our heads, we've got our own communities. So if something does come up, we can always solve it, by going ahead and speaking with the team.
Sorry, and to add on to that, I think since we did make a team, made this whole MUIS team, we've made sure that from the beginning that communication is one of the most important characteristics that is needed for us to function properly. And even now, if we have something that we want to add on to, if there is something that we want to be done differently, even during the election process, we made sure that we spoke to them about this and they spoke to us about it as well. So their communication is key.
Okay, I don't have any more question.
All right, thank you, Bunga. So, oh, we have one more question from the audience. Um, it's from Amina. If CRs are hesitant to share their problems or issues which they're encountering with you both, what would you do?
Okay, so we hope that we create an environment where this doesn't happen, at least they come up to one of us and talk to us about it. But if it does happen, we have a whole 11 working members, and if they're comfortable with any of the members over there, they could go up to them and they could talk to them. Because if they feel like we've done something that could be done differently, and we hope that they tell us first. But if they don't tell us, we'd love for them to go and tell our other committee members.
Yeah, and it's not just the community, even the subcom, the whole team of subcoms are there for this reason as well. If they don't want to come to us directly, they can come to us through the subcommittee, and yes, of course, the entire team as well.
All right. Thank you for your answers, and thank you for the questions, audience. So again, if you are not able to ask your questions here, you can still go to Musa's Instagram official page and comment under the KYC series. So with this, I'd like to ask the OB if you have any more questions.
No.
Alrighty. So we can proceed with closing statements from both the candidates. You have the floor.
Right. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be a part of this entire election process. Thank you, moderators, for your patience, cooperation, and help. And thank you, Bunga, for being such an amazing OB to inspire us to run for this position. Honestly, some huge shoes we've got to fill.
And finally, we would like to thank all the amazing people that joined the session and asked us the questions. We hope that you resonate with our ideologies and think of worthy of this position.
All right, thank you for the wonderful closing statement as well. With this, I'd like to end this debate session. And just to review on the next session, it'll start at 8 p.m. and we have editors coming up next. So stay tuned and hope to see you guys there. Thank you, everyone.